people? It's your boy, the host with the most that do not brag or boast, and I'm coming to you guys live from coast to coast. It's your boy, I'm Chris Don One. Welcome to another fabulous episode of Based on a True Story podcast. This is your host, your moderator. On this podcast, I tell you tales of my life stories, and things of that nature. Could you please do your boy a favor? Can you do your boy a solid? Hit the subscription button, the notification bell. Share this with your friend, family, as well as your followers. Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? Let me see if y'all can hear me clearly. Testing. Testing 1, 2. Yeah, we go. Testing 1, 2, testing 1, 2. All right. So without further ado, we're going to get into today's story time. Story time. I'm going to tell you the time. This story is titled from class queen to the backseat. From class queen to the backseat. Okay, I had a clever title than that, but nevertheless, I'm the best. Okay, so where should I start? All right, so this is when I was in high school, all right? And there's in every high school, it's all the same. You're going to have the popular kids, you're going to have the non-popular kids. You're going to have the athletes, you're going to have the nerds. You're going to have the teachers' pets, and you're going to have the class clowns, okay? Every high school is the same, okay? From sea to shining sea, okay? From the West Coast to the East Coast. Nothing's changed. Everything remains the same. So in my high school, all right, we had the most beautiful girl in our high school. All right. So I don't want to say her name because she's local, and if people are listening to my live and they're from my city, they're gonna know her name instantly. So we're just gonna call her Stacy Dash, because in high school everyone called her Stacy Dash. Now the reason why we called her Stacy Dash in high school wasn't because she looked like Stacy Dash. She just had the demeanor, the attitude of Stacy Dash. I'm talking about Stacy Dash from Clueless, okay? That Stacy Dash. She talked so proper. She, thought she was better than the rest of us. She didn't come from the hood. She came from a gated community. Very smart woman, highly intelligent, but a beautiful female, okay? Now, most high school girls, they're going to be lacking in certain things, all right? You might see some high school girls, they don't have a good ass on them. They don't have no good chest on them. Don't got no good head on them, okay? But with Stacy Dash, she was the total package, okay? She had curves for days when it came to her body, all right? Everybody wanted to holler at Stacy Dash. Everyone from my high school wanted to holler at Stacy Dash. Everyone from other high schools want to holler at Stacy Dash. Stacy Dash, when she walks into a room, she smells like sea breeze, okay? Just smells like sea breeze. Nice, calm, cool, sexy. That type of demeanor. Every time she steps into the room, she demands attention, and she just smells like an ocean breeze, okay? That was that was Stacy Dash. Everybody want to holler at Stacy Dash. Even the teachers, male and females, wanted to hit Stacy Dash. Everybody wanted to hit Stacy Dash, all right, including your boy. Now, if you've been following my stories, I told you guys I was a late bloomer when it came to the females, okay? My game wasn't all that good. Okay, my game wasn't that good. What's up? How you doing, my friend? My game wasn't good. My body language wasn't all that good. And I got nervous just talking to people in general. But I really got nervous when I talked to females. And I would either clam up or say something stupid. So I got the gumption, the nerve to finally walk up to Stacy Dash. And my clueless butt walked up there and went, how you doing? So She nicknamed me Stutter Butt. What's up, Stutter Butt? So, but look, if you've been following my stories, I told you guys I didn't have the best game. Thank you for the thumbs up, guys. When it came to females, I started to develop that later on. Later on in life. Okay, so that was me. That was my attempt. A lot of people say you only get one shot at a female, and you really only get one shot to a baddie. So you better make it count. And I missed. It was all net. It wasn't all net. It just hit the backboard. I effed up. All right. So other guys would try to talk to Stacey Dash. Some guys, got the opportunity to take her out. Some guys got the opportunity to be around her. You know, those were those guys. But those guys, they was either the coolest guys, the guys who knew what to say, guys with cars, guys with money, guys with jobs. Okay, so I ain't had none of that at that time. It was early in high school. I didn't have no car, had no game, had no clothes. I didn't know what cool was, okay? Had no money, no munions, okay? I ain't had nothing, all right? So I didn't have a chance to talk to Stacey Dash, all right? So Stacey Dash was in our high school. She got the opportunity to be prom queen, not once, not twice, but 3 times. Stacey Dash won prom queen 3 times. Still to this day, we don't know how she can win prom queen 3 times. We can understand you winning it 2 times when you're in the 11th grade and when you're in the 12th grade. But how do you win prom queen in the 10th grade? There was no other females that looked better than Stacey Dash that was a senior or in the 11th grade. That's how fine Stacey Dash was, okay? So she just got the first opportunities and the first pick with everything. Now, I had this friend, and his name was James. James had a huge crush on. First and foremost, we all had huge crushes on Stacey Dash. But James had the biggest crush on Stacey Dash, but he was scared to even talk to her, all right? The only way he got close to Stacey Dash, we had this little high school magazine that came out once a month. And it will just tell you about things that's going on in the school and what different activities, or like the football team or the basketball team, whatever. It just have school biz, all right? So Stacey Dash would always be featured in our little school newspaper, all right? So it was one time she had like a picture. They had a picture of Stacey Dash in one of these magazines. My homeboy James thought she was beautiful, attractive, just looking at the picture, kissing the picture and stuff like that. I thought that was kind of weird. He just had a huge crush on her, okay? From the outside looking in, y'all gonna think that he's a weirdo, but dude had a huge crush on Stacey Dash. So one day, now, I didn't see this happening, but they said they caught him in the restroom whacking off to Stacey Dash picture in the high school magazine. It wasn't like she was in a 2-piece bikini or anything like that. She was in her regular clothes, but he got busted, all right? And, everyone in high school would make fun of him because of that, okay? But yeah, that's, everybody likes Stacey Dash, all right? So we all graduated. We all graduated from high school, all right? We done moved on, all right? And during this time, I'm still, when I graduated, I told you guys who've been following my story, I took a year off of college. Well, just school, period. When I graduated, I took a whole year off, because the rigors of high school, at that particular time, I was young, dumb, and full of what. I thought I went through a lot when I went through high school. When I finally went to college, I found out college is a whole new world. And you thought that you were studying a lot in high school. Wait until you go to college, okay? But I didn't know that at that time. So I took a year off. And during that year, I was keeping up with everybody. James went to the Army. Okay. He wanted to be all the best he could be. I had some people. I had some of my friends went to the Army. Some of my friends just actually went from high school to college. Some moved out. Some moved overseas. I'm still keeping up with everybody. On Facebook. Okay, and Facebook at that time was popping. Facebook was more popular than Instagram and Twitter. Everybody was on Facebook. Okay, um, so that's how I would keep up with all my classmates. Okay, so and Stacy Dash was on Facebook. She was even popular on Facebook. All right, so people would subscribe to her that have never even met her, like overseas or whatever. She had a whole bunch of friends on Facebook. Okay, that's all I can tell you. All right, so how you're on Facebook, you can see what everybody's doing with their lives. And Stacey Dash, she likes to, you know, archive what she's been doing with her life. After high school, she went to college. Um, she started dating different rappers and different athletes and things of that nature. And, you know, she quit school because at that time, she's young and dumb too. At that time, she felt like she didn't need school because she was so pretty and so popular. You know, the world was handed to her. She can just get whatever she wanted. Okay, so she, like I said, she's hanging out with all the stars and athletes, rappers, and things of that nature. And you're seeing the picture. It's not like she's telling us this on Facebook and she's not showing us anything. No, she's actually showing us pictures of all these different types of people that she have met. Okay, so I'm going like, okay, so Stacey Dash, she's doing her thing. All right, so a year went by. I went to college. We'll talk about college a little bit later. Uh, I'm gonna tell you why. We'll talk about college a little bit later. My experience in college. I say about my second year. My first year of college. You know, you start meeting new friends. You start meeting new people. You dig what I'm saying? So now you're adding people that you met in college. So now you're trying to keep up with the people that you met in college because, y'all have the same classes. Y'all do y'all have the same courses. Y'all have the same homework and the same assignments. So, you know, I stopped, checking on everybody else that I met in high school because, everybody in high school, they're living their lives. They don't have time to tell me what they're doing. They just paste it on Facebook, and that's the only way I can figure out what they're doing. But my first year of college, I got lost in the sauce. I was so busy and trying to stay focused in college, I forgot about my friends in high school. And, when you go to college, you know, high school, you see females in high school. When you go to college, that it's just a whole nother league. And there's some women in college that were way beautiful than the women that I was trying to hook up with in high school. So when you get distracted, you just forget about that stuff. So I say about 2 years of college. I'm still my second year of college. It's not going so well. I'm thinking about maybe just either going to transferring to another college or just giving up school entirely. So I'm weighing my options and stuff. So I took a semester off. All right. So I really focus um, on, I was still working at that time, and I was trying to focus on my future. Okay, is college part of my future or is it not part of my future? I'm not 1,000% sure what I want to do. All right, at that particular time. Like I said, I took a year, I took a semester off. I got a full time. I already had a full time job. I took another part time job. So basically, when I wake up, I would just wake up, get ready for work, and clock out from work, go home, hang out for a couple of hours, and then go to my second job. That's pretty much the routine I had for like 6 months. Okay. Um, and that was I didn't have no social life. People that I met in college, I'm not, messaging them and seeing what they're doing because, you know, they're moving on with their lives, with their college lives. Okay, so life is good. They don't really need me. And the people that I used to hang with in high school, you know, I have lost contact with them. So I have to start all over as far as friends go. So I didn't have a lot of friends. All right. So I was, one day I was driving um, back home from my second job. And as I'm driving down, like I'm driving home, and like if you live out east, you know what I'm getting ready to say. There's this bridge, the Jefferson Street Bridge. Okay, so the Jefferson Street Bridge is connected to downtown and to my hood. That was the quickest way to get back and forth from home. All right. Now I could take side streets and things of that nature, but it would have took me a little bit longer. And the Jefferson Street Bridge would be constantly busy. All right. So, like I said, it was late at night. It's not all, it's like, you know, it's light traffic. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of traffic. Okay. I get off Jefferson Street Bridge. Uh, I drive down Joe Johnson. As I'm driving down Joe Johnson, I see this female. Now I got my high beams on. Now, knowing when you drive down this street is full of prostitutes. Full of prostitutes. Okay. All the prostitutes hang out over here. All right. So it's no big shock to see females walking up and down this street. Because I seen them. It's no big deal. I don't bother them, they don't bother me. Okay. They do their thing, I do my thing. So I got my high beams on. I'm getting ready to cross. I'm getting ready to drive down the street. And as I'm driving down the street, I saw this female walking up the street. Normally, I don't even give them the time of day. All right. So as I'm walking, I read y'all messages a little later. So as I'm walking, as I got my high beams on, for some strange reason, I happened to look up, and it was Stacey Dash. She looked just like Stacey. Is that Stacey Dash? So I immediately I cut into another street, turned back around, and I pulled to the side, and I rolled my window down. I said, yo, and then she turned around. She didn't know who I was. She turned around and she said, "You ready to date?" Now, when you say you ready to date, that means you ready to pay for some sex. All right. She didn't pay me no attention. She just thought I was just a regular old John. Okay. So as she turns her head and she says, "Are you ready to date?" I'm going like, "Stacy." And then she looks back and she really looks at me real hard, like, okay, pause. And then she's going like, "Chris?" I said, "Yeah, what's up?" So she immediately got in the car. All right. So, I'm trying to play, I'm just starting conversation. You dig what I'm saying? I know what's going on, but I don't want to tell her, what I know. So I'm playing dumb with her. I said, "What you doing out late at night?" She's up here making this excuse time about she coming off from work. How you gonna come off work? You got high heels on. You got a short ass dress. Nothing. All you can see is ass. Okay. So I'm playing it off. I'm going like, yeah, you coming from work? I'm playing it off and shit. Okay. Because, some females, they don't want to just say, "Hey, I'm walking the streets." Okay. I'm trying to get some money. Okay. Some women, they got the mindset to say that. Other women, they don't have that mindset. Okay. So I'm playing dumb with her. Okay. So we're catching up and shit. So I told her what I've been doing ever since, high school and shit like that. And then she's telling, the last time we saw each other. So she's telling me what she has done. Okay. she done, and I said, well, I used to follow you on Facebook, and you would post constantly about what you're doing. And she said, yeah, you used to follow me on Facebook. I said, yeah, I used to follow you on Facebook a lot, okay? So, she would, say things I already knew. Talking about she tried college, she left college, she's trying to find, she's pretty much saying that she didn't see no purpose in college, so she was trying to figure out what she wanted to do after college life. After college, she said she wanted to party, so she went to different parties. She told me she done went to different cities and states and shit, talking about who she done met and saw and this, that, and the third. Okay, it was like one big old Lifetime series. Okay, you dig what I'm saying? But I didn't want to bust her bubble because, you know, most guys in this predicament, they wouldn't give a damn about what you doing or what you thinking about doing. They want to bust you out and rush. They want to bust you out and rush you out. Okay, I'm not trying to do any of that shit. Okay, so probably this would be a good moment for her. I was saying to myself, this probably would do wonders for her than for me, this conversation. So I'm letting her talk. And, apparently she didn't have nobody to talk to because she was talking to me. She was talking to me constantly, okay? Keep me up to date. A lot of the stuff that she was telling me, I already knew. But, she never been in this position where anyone even cared or even thought about caring, listening to her. Okay, so I'm listening to her. So she's telling me this, she's telling me that. Stacy, even at that state, she still took care of herself. You dig what I'm saying? She wasn't dirty or nasty or anything like that, but she really did took care. She took care of herself the best way she could. Okay, so she's up there telling me this, that, and the third. And, I already told her my business. So, there's really nothing else to talk about. You dig what I'm saying? So, it was either she leaves the car and I drive off, or we hooking up. So I just said, I'm gonna be real honest with you, Stacy. I have been down the street before. I know all the hookers and prostitutes come down here, try to make a little money, for dating and shit like that. That's the only reason why you would walk down here. And then, I guess a light came to her head, or she just came into reason. She just said, you know what? I didn't want to tell you what I was doing. And I said, there's no sense of being ashamed about it. And she said, no, it's not about being ashamed about it. It's just, to me, I didn't think you was that type of a person that will engage in something like this. Okay. And I'm going like, well, what makes you think I'm not that type of person that wouldn't want to engage into this? So when I said that, it was a huge sigh of relief off her head, because she wanted to do that from the beginning. So we wasted pretty much 20 minutes just talking around the point, and she basically wanted to make some money. All right. So I said, okay, cool. Are we going to your house? Whatever. I've never done this before. You dig what I'm saying? So she said, no, we can't go to my house. I know a spot. I said a spot. So so I start the car. She pointing in different directions, telling me which way to go, which way to that way, that. And then I pull up in this alley. Now, in front of us is like a wall. So can't nobody pull up front, because, this is kind of illegal. So the only way anyone could roll up on us is from the back. And then we got the back cover because we're watching. So we went to the back seat. You dig what I'm saying? We go in the back seat. She already discussed her price. I said, okay, cool. I'm cool with that. Went to the back seat. And man, we start getting it in. All right. So I'm So as I'm getting it in, she's like laying down. I'm looking at her, and I'm just thinking about when I was in high school. And I used to have a huge crush on this girl. She's a woman now. I used to have a huge crush on her. I used to try to holler at her. I was thinking of times when I tried to talk to her, I messed up. I wrote a poem to her, wouldn't get no play from her. And now, so, like years after the fact, now I finally got this girl, and now I'm having my way with her. You dig what I'm saying? But even though I was thinking it and I was feeling it, it wasn't the same like it was when I was in high school. You dig what I'm saying? And men, I don't know, men do this a lot. And if there's a man in the building, they will understand where I'm coming from. Okay, so guys, you know how you try to holler at a female and you don't get no play from this female, and it's been like you've been trying to get at this girl for the longest. You don't get no play from this girl, and like years later, after you done failed miserably trying to hook up with this girl, you finally got the opportunity to hook up with this girl. You kind of feel like, I don't know, you feel like, damn, I'm gonna show her what she was missing. So I got real active on top of her. Like it was like one of them. It was like Bang Bros in the back seat. Man, I was just knocking her back and forth. The car's going up and down, left to right to left. I'm hammering her. You dig what I'm saying? I'm showing her that, hey, you could have gotten this a long time ago. Here we are years later. I want you to remember me by this. You dig what I'm saying? But hey, that's what I'm thinking. She's thinking, at that time, I'm pretty sure she was thinking this. Hey man, I'm just here to make money. Whatever can get you going, so I can hurry up and get up out of here, so I can jump into the next car. I'm cool with it. Okay. So you know how you be talking yourself up. I'm up here talking myself up, talking about, yeah, I finally got the prom queen finally in my back seat. I'm talking ish. I'm talking mad ish in the back seat. Now, at that time, I thought that was I was doing something. But when you when you years away from that incident, you start saying to yourself, man, you ain't really doing nothing. She's not the same girl that you was attractive to, or you felt that you had a crush on when you was in high school. This girl is totally different now. She's in a different situation. But at that time and at that moment, all I'm thinking about is the time when we was in high school and I used to try to holler at her and she wouldn't give me no play. You dig what I'm saying? So you go a little bit extra with females like that. You dig what I'm saying? You give them a little bit more. Sometimes men, we be a little reserved. We try to give you a little taste here, a little taste there. We don't just give you the whole nine, okay? If a man gives you the whole nine, I mean, just tries to just give it all to you at once, he don't care nothing about you. I'm telling you, females, he don't care nothing about you. If a man try to bust you out, rush you out, he don't care nothing about you. Okay, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but I'm just telling you. Okay, so if a man goes a little too extra with you in bed, and this is y'all first time, then that's a telltale sign that, hey, he don't care nothing about you. He just trying to bust you out, rush you out, or he's it's like you upset, but you're really not upset. You're mad that you didn't get an opportunity to get with her early. Now you got an opportunity with her years later, and now you kind of upset at yourself and upset at her. Okay, so yeah, that pretty much happened. And after that, I drove her. Uh, After we got done with that, we talked. We got back up to the front of the car, pulled out, paused, drove her. I think drove her to her apartment. I don't know if that was her apartment. She probably told me to just drive her somewhere, and her apartment's a block away. And then she got out, and then we made some little small talk, like we was gonna really see each other. Damn well we're not gonna really see each other. So that's pretty much it. I haven't seen her since then. I don't know what she's doing. Um, and bear in mind, like when I had Facebook the first time around, I was in touch with a lot of people. Then somehow, some way, that Facebook account got deleted or hacked or whatever, and I lost contact with a lot of people on that Facebook page. So I had to create another Facebook page and start all over again. So I don't know what the hell Stacey Dash is doing right now. But yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I really like the thumbs up and things of that nature. Let me read these comments real fast, real quick. Cater says hi. Big Black says, that's a weird name. You preaching Bible verses with a name like that? Please find God, no need to talk about lusting on things. Please. Okay, cool. Yo, who is that? Who said yo? Florence. What's up? What's up? Okay. Nah, just story time talk, man. Just story time talk. That's all this is, man. Just story time talk. Anyway, I'm up out of here. I'll talk to you guys